He's doing a lot better. He's back at work. Rooster's loud. Morning everybody, welcome back. Today I came outside to take care of animals like I usually do my chores and noticed I got a little bit of work to do. As you guys know, John Hurt is back. He's back at work and feeling a lot better, but as often happens this time of year, you got the heat, which makes everything grow, and that's great. Except if you spend a week inside taking care of somebody, then you come outside and you notice that you got a little cleanup work to do. So that's what I'm about to start working on, is a bunch of the cleanup. This part, right here along the fence line, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of tall. I'm actually just gonna move that fence back a little bit and let the chickens do that for me. But they can't do it all. Got quite a bit of weed eating, some trimming to do. So I'm gonna take you along. He's noisy today. I'm gonna take you along on some of my chores and we'll see what else we get to do today. So. There we go. We have the Premier One poultry netting, and I just showed you guys that I'm going to move it a little bit so the chickens can eat the grass that's kind of growing up in it, but I have it stretched exactly as far as it will go. So what I'm going to do is just add a gate. We have the gate that goes with that, and I'm just going to add it just to make the fence just a little bit longer. It'll also give us an access to get in there to them easier. It's actually really easy to install. It has posts that go in the ground just like the fence, and then it has this base that you'll put in and put one of the posts through, and then it has a spot where you can stick the gate in and out. Just makes a really fast installation. This is only going to take me just a couple of minutes, and then the chickens can do that weed eating instead of me. Already in that taller grass, scratching and digging. Chickens is weed eaters. One of the main things I'm working on today is pruning and cleanup. This right here is really blocking our path that we usually have that goes from the barn over to the side yard. Part of our fencing. The chickens can still get through, but it makes it really hard for us to get through. So I'm going to be doing a lot of cleanup, a lot of just pruning, weed eating, all those little jobs that kind of get pushed off when things are going on, or you know, canning season. We've been canning peppers and doing all kinds of other things, so this job has been a little neglected, and it's just time to do it, get it all cleaned up so that all these paths and things that we have we can actually use the way we need to. So that's what I'm gonna mostly work on, getting all this cleaned up. Rooster's eyeing me like crazy. He's kind of wondering what I'm doing in his space. He's a pretty good protector of his hens, so I don't mind him being there. Back here behind the shed and the barn area cleaning up, I saw these, and I have never seen them before, and maybe you have, so they might not be as exciting to you as it is to me. But it is a climbing cucumber, just a wild plant. I've never seen it, and I thought it was really neat, so thought I'd show you guys. Just trying to read to see if they're edible or not. And it totally depends on what you read. Some people say mildly toxic. Some people say, yeah, it's edible, just a little. So until I know, I'm going to say no. But maybe you know, and if you do, you can tell me in the comments. But I just thought that was really cool. It's one of the things I like about being out here, is I learn something new all the time. I've gotten a bunch of the pruning and cleaning done. Haven't gotten to my weed eating and all that, but you know, there's always work to be done. But right here, so you can see where I was working, and now this path. It's much clearer. I can get through there now. Chickens always could, but it made it really difficult for me to get through. We've got all these fences set up where we can do it. And I realize I've talked a few times about our fences, but I've never actually showed you guys what all we've put in. I think John probably did it step by step so that I would not think he was too crazy. But over the few years we've been here, we've done several changes to this yard. And when we first moved in, there was just a simple fence separating the front yard and the backyard, like most, you know, most homes have. And it's that fence way out there. That one was already here, just a normal, you know, front yard, backyard fence. When we very first moved in, not long after we got here, this fence right here where I'm standing, we put in. And for two reasons at that point, because we had a dog and a garden area, and then our youngest one at that time was 3 years old. And there's an in-ground pool that you've probably seen we're in the process of actually getting rid of. But we wanted to have an area where she could play, and we didn't have to worry about, if we were working in the garden, her getting over into the pool. So this fence was the first addition. And take you over here and show you by the pool. There's a privacy fence that just was around two sides of the pool, just, you know, to protect from the neighbors, but it kept us from seeing the garden from our house, and we didn't really like that very much. So all these short boards here behind the plants, you can't see them really well, right here, were actually the same as all of these. Taller, just normal privacy fence that just kind of shaded around two sides of the pool. Well, we decided to cut them down so that we could see the backyard, or see the back garden from our porch and everything. So that was our next little project. Probably making you dizzy walking y'all around, but anyway, we cut the tops off of all of these, and then we use those tops over here to make this little part to separate this area where the pool was from the garden. And that's when we built our arbor. So it's kind of our entrance into the garden. So those are just our first regular fences. Those weren't weird to me. Then he's actually pretty creative, but he has to kind of talk me into some of his things because I don't always see what he's seeing. After that, we built kind of a chicken tunnel, chicken area. This right here with these posts, and we have a fence on this side, serves a couple of purposes. I'm trying to get where you can see it good while I'm talking to you. So it's good climbing. Down there we have some kiwi climbing on it. We use it for pea trellis and all that kind of stuff, so it's a good climber. But it also separates and makes a tunnel so the chickens can get from behind the barn over to our side yard where we let them go sometimes. And I'll actually just walk you through there and show you the rest of it. So here we have the chicken tunnel that we've made. So this is out of chicken wire, and all of this pipe is actually recycled from an old trampoline that our neighbors had that they didn't need anymore. That's just the tunnel that goes down the third side of the garden. So basically the chickens can get around three sides of our garden. you come over here, we have that side yard that I've showed you before. And obviously plenty of brush that I have to deal with that I've been taking care of today. And this is down that same chicken tunnel that I just showed you. And I have it blocked off right now. This is how the chickens get from the barn to the side. And it butts right up against the compost, which goes right up to the barn. And that's where they're hanging out right now. So this gate we have right here next to that chicken tunnel that I just showed you separates the garden from the side yard. We actually have two options for the fence, for the gate. We can hook it right here, which stays open to the tunnel for the chickens. Or if we give the dogs access all the way around the yard, we just swing it back here and hook it here. And that keeps the dogs from getting stuck in that little chicken tunnel. So back to the front of the barn. Back to the front of the barn, and we have another gate. This one is the one that leads back to our water right behind the shed, and it's another little tunnel that the chickens can use to get to our other yard. I've showed you a little bit of that before, but I can really walk you through now that I've got all that extra brush cleaned up. So we're behind the barn. Right here. This is where we ended coming down that first tunnel. I have it blocked off right now. We have not built a gate here yet. We might, but we also have some other ideas of what might be going on. There's the compost. You've seen the other side of it. This is the side the chickens can get in and they can scratch. We're back here behind the barn. I didn't clean up a lot of this on purpose because I was leaving it for shade for the chickens, because this is where they kind of come for a protected area. But back through here, I'm chasing them. They're going to show us where they go. This is our storage shed. And right here they have a little path between. We added this fence just to continue the path on. We have a second coop here that we use. Sometimes it's not in use at the moment. Walking over all that brush I just cut down. And this takes us over to that big side again. And I've showed you how we have that right now temporarily fenced off into a smaller area for them with our Premier One fencing. So that's how they get there. So all of John's fence ideas were actually really great, really helpful. We have one more little trick. This gate right here, John actually designed where we can latch it that way for the chickens to have a tunnel, or we can move it and we can close it on this side if we want to close that area off and have the area in the garden open. So he's pretty creative at designing those things. I might not always understand it, but now that it's in place, it definitely works. It's got a purpose. And so if your husbands have any crazy ideas, you might listen to them. They might know what they're talking about. But as you can see from all my piles of brush, it means I'm done cutting it out of the fence and clearing up my path, but it means I still have plenty of work to do. So I'm gonna get busy getting that all cleaned up, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.